Good afternoon, Piedmont students, and welcome to PC Talk. I'm your host for the day, Nathan Blackburn. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about Trillium. You've all probably seen the posters for Trillium stuck on every free wall across campus, but some of you may be asking, what exactly is Trillium? Today's focus will actually be on the literature side of Trillium rather than the graphic art side. And joining us in the studio today is Emily Pierce, an English major and former Trillium editor. How are you doing today, Emily?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm good, thanks for asking. So, with that being said, let's get down to the questions. Emily, in your own words, what exactly is Trillium?
Well, it is a student-run literature and art publication that if you sign up for the course on either side, you basically act as one of the editors, and anyone could submit on campus.
All right. So you did say student-run, but maybe other than the students, who all is involved in making Trillium happen?
Well, I know on the literature side, Dr. O'Keefe is the advisor for it. I'm not sure who it is on the art side.
Around how many editors would you say, usually, for students?
Last year when I was in the course, there were about 10 student editors in the class.
Okay. Speaking of Dr. O'Keefe, we went out and were able to get a few words from him about his involvement in Trillium. Let's roll that tape now.
Here we are with Dr. Tim O'Keefe, the faculty advisor for Trillium. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, thank you. So the main question I have for you is, in the most basic sense, what is Trillium?
So Trillium is Piedmont's undergraduate literary journal and also art journal. So it's actually a collaborative effort that goes between the graphic design team and the literature team. Two different classes that get together to produce one dynamic product.
Nice, and one final question. As the advisor, what advice do you have for students that might want to submit but they might not think their work's good enough?
One is actually reading more poetry. I mean, I think it's one of those strange things that, for example, no one who ever wants to make movies would say that they don't watch movies. But there are a number of people who feel that like they can write poems but they don't have any obligation to read them. And I think if you're not familiar with the medium and you don't really know how people write poems or what kinds of poems are being written today, you're probably going to be at a bit of a disadvantage when it comes to actually crafting your own poems and trying to give them your own authentic voice.
That's some great advice. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you guys.
And we're back. Now, Emily, how was your time as a Trillium editor when you were in the class?
It was really good. It was my first real class under the creative writing bracket, so it was interesting to look at it from the other side of what makes a good short story, a good poem, and what is good for a literary publication versus other forms of media. We had one poem that would have worked better, was more spoken word feeling, and would have worked better in a poetry slam than in a publication. So dealing with those issues was really interesting.
And since you're not an editor this year, are you going to be submitting anything?
I'm planning on it. I'm in Dr. O'Keefe's poetry class, and he's been encouraging all of us to submit. And I was actually editing some stuff this morning that I plan on submitting later this week.
Now, unfortunately, we're just about out of time, but one final question for you. Do you have any advice for those who may want to submit to Trillium but just aren't really feeling up to it?
Well, there's no reason not to try. If you've got a poem or a short story laying around, maybe you haven't looked at it in a while, why not just submit it? Because the editors will read it anonymously. They're not going to know it's you unless you tell them later. But, and there's a chance of winning $250. I mean, why not do it?
That's true. Big dollars. Thanks so much for joining us, Emily. It was a great time having you.
Thanks for having me.
The literary deadline has been extended to March 5th, so submit while you still can. Thanks for joining us on this episode of PC Talk, and be sure to tune in next time.